Hello everyone, it is I, Mark S.W. Now, in the past, I used to think that I was the only YouTuber in Leicester. Well, I stand corrected, I'm not the only one, because today I'm joined with another YouTuber from Leicester, SuperSaf.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming, it's an honour.
It's great to see other YouTubers here in Leicester as well. I'm not aware of many others, so it's nice to see you.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know SuperSaf, he's a tech reviewer, so you review new technology.
Yes, technology, so that's smartphones, as you can maybe tell on here. So lots of smartphones, laptops, more recently cars, EVs, which has been a lot of fun. So yeah, all kinds of tech. I've always been into tech myself personally as well, so it's always nice to be able to play with the latest gadgets.
So you get to play with all the new toys and stuff.
I do. That's one of the best parts of the job, testing out new tech that sometimes isn't even released yet. So I get to test it out before anybody else. So that's something I'm very fortunate to do. It's something that I've always been passionate about. So yeah, it's always nice to be able to try out lots of different tech.
Right. Well, I've asked him on my channel for a little interview, so I've got some questions here. So, as I mentioned, you're from Leicester. So, what made you choose Leicester as your base of operations?
So I'm Leicester born and bred. So that's thanks to my parents who moved here way back. So yeah, I was just born here, grew up here. There's been a lot of opportunities to potentially move to, maybe London, New York, etc. But for me, Leicester's really home. I just love how diverse it is, how multicultural it is. And we've got so much here, and it's so well connected as well as a city. So I go to London a lot. It's not too bad to get to London from Leicester, but at the same time, if I want to go to Manchester or somewhere up north, again, it's not too bad. So I love the central location of Leicester. Yeah, I just love the city. So even though I could move if I wanted to, I choose to stay here because I like it so much.
Yeah, I'm born in Leicester as well, so definitely my home place.
Yeah, what's your favourite thing about Leicester?
Definitely the National Space Centre. I go there for usually mini conventions there.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of like Doctor Who, Jay Anderson shows, so things like that.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean Leicester. We've got just the Curl Theatre just over here. We've got obviously the Leicester City Football Club, which they're not doing so great this season, but but there's so much to see and do in Leicester, and I just think it's such a good balance.
In case you're wondering, we're at the LCB depot where we're recording this interview, and so you mentioned you also reviewed cars.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a favourite car that you've so far reviewed?
So it would be my precious, which is my Tesla Model 3 Performance. I've tried out lots of different cars. This Tesla is just, I've got a personal connection with it, so it's my own, the one that I own. But I've been able to try so many other cars as well, which has been really good to get a good idea of what's available out there. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 was something that I really enjoyed driving. More recently, been testing out a lot of the Land Rovers. We've got the new Range Rover coming, which is very exciting, and I'd love to try out more. There's BMW have got some great vehicles coming. I tried the Mercedes EQS. There's so many options, but right now, at this point in time, it's going to be my Model 3 Performance.
Oh, so you could be the next presenter of Top Gear, perhaps?
I'm not sure I'm that experienced yet. I've never really been a petrol head myself. I think what really got me into cars is the EVs now, which are so much more, have so much more tech embedded within them, and that's something that really appealed to me. Before this, I was driving my Vauxhall Astra, 2005 Vauxhall Astra, which I had for like 10 years. So I've never been much of a petrol head, but I think the EV space is so interesting, and there's so much variety out there. And for somebody like me who is so much into tech, I can also break that down a little bit better. But if you ask me to review a petrol car which I wasn't familiar with, then I'd probably struggle.
So maybe not the Bugatti Veyron then?
No, probably not.
So if you didn't do like tech reviews on your channel, what else would you have done on your channel? Or would you still do YouTube?
So I've always been into filmmaking from a very young age. Like my dad was always very keen to capture moments. So we had like a old VHS camcorder with the the DV tapes inside and things like that. So from a very young age, I would borrow his camera when he wasn't around, and me and my brothers would film some short skits and things like that. So I was always into video, which tells me that I would have carried on doing something like that if I was on YouTube, whether doing this or something else. It would be, in some respect, I'd be doing some sort of social media content creation. And I was also working at University, so I was there for quite some time. I graduated from University, and my job role was a multimedia designer. So that would involve interactive web design, but also lots of video and photography for the university. So a lot of the drone stuff that you would have seen at the university, that was done by myself. Social media, just having some fun really. So I'm fascinated by social media and video as a form of expression, and I think that's really something I would be doing, whether that be tech or something else.
Yeah, that's great, because I graduated at Dumfries as well.
Okay.
I studied video and animation production.
Amazing. Yeah. How did you find it? Good?
Brilliant. I had one course where I didn't need to do any paperwork. Just put everything on a DVD and that was it.
There you go. And I think that's the side of me. I'm more of somebody who's more visual and practical. And I think something like that. I studied multimedia computing at University, and although there wasn't really much video in there, it did kind of start me up on that journey, because at the time when I studied, there was minimal video that was happening online. YouTube was just kind of starting to pick up and things like that. So it's great to be able to experience some of these things. We had the green screen studio. I'm not sure if you use that.
I use that a lot. So I did a video project, because usually most video projects I do at university, the students would usually go for either horror or crime, but I went sci-fi.
Amazing. Good to hear. Good to hear. I mean, that was the same as well. Like, just loved sci-fi, and having those facilities available was brilliant.
Absolutely, yeah. I've noticed that technology has been advancing a lot, and I think some of you guys may have noticed, like, for example, instead of DVDs, people watch things online, live streaming, and they also use online to listen to music instead of CDs. And these days, laptops, they don't come with CD drives anymore, so if you've got a software that you want to use, it's going to be a bit difficult to install it. So in your opinion, do you think there's still room for old technology? Are we rushing into the new stuff too quickly, or is it time to say bye-bye to old technology?
I'm somebody who likes to really move with the times, and like you mentioned, laptops without CD drives. I grew up in the era of floppy disks, right? So I totally understand, all of the different mediums that we've had. But now when we look back at floppy disk and how outdated that was, I can understand that a lot of the youth, especially these days, probably feel the same way about CDs and DVDs. Physical drives which you had to have. Now you can just stream in 4K, Ultra HD anywhere, pretty much. So I'm all for the future. Don't get me wrong, all of those technologies were amazing, and they had their time. But even my desktop PC does not have a CD or DVD drive, and I think it is important to kind of keep up with all of the new technology, because that's the way you kind of move on to the next thing. Because right now, this is what we have. Who knows what's going to come next?
The reason I bring this question up is because sometimes on like the live stream, if they have like a TV series, sometimes they'll be missing 1 or 2 episodes. So that means you sort of end up having to get the DVD or have to look somewhere else for full episodes.
Yeah, no, totally, and that is the case for a lot of TV shows, etc. But I think more and more things are becoming now in a digital form where you can stream them, and I think that's really the way forward. So I'm personally somebody who would much rather buy a download than a physical disc for anything.
Of course, as a YouTuber, you have lots of support. You've got over 1 million subscribers. But, of course, this is a question that nearly every YouTuber gets asked. How do you deal with all the negative comments, like the haters, the critics? How do you deal with them?
Yeah, so I mean, very fortunate to have the following that I have and the support that I've had over the past 10 years that I've been doing this as well. It's, I'm so grateful, and I just can't express how grateful I am for that. And I think that's really what helps me combat the negativity, because regardless of what you do, you could be the nicest person in the world, just dedicating your life to charity, and people would still be negative towards you. Some people, right? So I think that's just part of it. The way I kind of combat that is for every person who's a hater, negative for no reason, there are tens, maybe hundreds of people who are positive and supportive towards you. And that's the way I like to see the world in general, that for every bad person, there's, hundreds of good people. And, that's kind of what keeps me motivated, just in life in general, really. I'm all open for constructive criticism. So if somebody, genuinely gives me some advice, I'm always happy to take that on board. But there's also lots of noise where there's people who will just not like you for the sake of not liking you, whether that be because they don't like the way you look, they don't like your religion, your background, all of these things. There are people who are unfortunately like that out there. So those people, I think it's just best to ignore.
Good idea. That's why I delete all my negative comments. I don't like them hanging over.
Yeah, I mean that's the best way. Just it's not easy to do, but I have certain words that are also automatically blocked on the channel. So then I don't really even need to see them to kind of bring me down. I think that's the best way to kind of combat it. It's not an ideal situation, in an ideal world there wouldn't be people who would be trying to bring others down. But unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world, so you kind of have to work your way around it.
Of course, you've also collaborated with many other YouTubers, like, if I can get this name right, Peter McKinnon.
Peter McKinnon, yeah.
And the Tech Chat.
Yes.
And one of my personal favourites, Justine.
Oh, she's lovely, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, I'd love to meet her one day. Are there any other YouTubers you'd like to collab with in the future?
So I've been very fortunate to have collaborated with, the names you mentioned. It's funny because I was just reminded by Instagram throwback that 3 years ago today is when I did the collaboration with Peter McKinnon, who's a lovely, lovely guy. You mentioned Tom, the tech chap, who's down in Somerset. I went to visit him in December. Lovely, lovely guy again. And, Justine, one of the best creators out there, and one of the nicest people, genuinely nicest people that I've come across in this field. And that's one of the big advantages of doing what I do, is the people you come across, and there's so many nice people out there. In terms of who I'd like to collaborate with, I'm always open to collaborations, and there's a lot of people who I do watch online as well. I'd love to do something with Mr. Beast, Jimmy. I think I love the work that he does, and especially the philanthropy that he does, and all
he does a lot of charity work as well.
Yeah, and that's something that I find so inspiring. It's been great to be involved in projects like Team Trees and Team Seas. So whatever little part I could do, I was very fortunate to be able to be a part of that. But I would love to do something a bit more in person with Jimmy if that opportunity ever comes up, hopefully.
Let's hope so. Mr. Beast, if you're watching this, please collab with SuperSaf.
How about yourself? Who would you like to collab with?
I mentioned this in one of my Q&A videos. I'd love to collab with Rosanna Pansino.
Oh yes, okay.
She's always cheerful, and I'd like to maybe make something like maybe cookies or cake, something in honor of World Autism Awareness Day.
Amazing, yeah. No, that would be amazing. Yeah, hopefully one day you'll get to do that as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed. You may or may not know, there are also like YouTube events. Like here in this country, we have Social in the City, and in America they've got like VidCon, which has been going international. If you were invited to one of these events and got to take part on a stage, what would you do?
What would I do? That's a good question. I'm not sure. My talents are limited in the entertainment area, so I'm not too sure. I've been fortunate enough to be at a few YouTube Creator Summits as well. On stage, usually I'm very casual. I don't like to. I've been invited to many events where they've asked me to potentially like do a talk or something motivational. And I'm like, look, I'm not that guy. I'm more than happy to be on a panel, have a Q&A in this format where we can have a conversation, because that's what I like to do. I like having conversations rather than something that's pretty one way. So maybe something like that. Maybe just something where we can just have something interactive and have a conversation with the audience as well as whoever's on stage.
When I was at university, I was given a laptop with some special software to help me because not only am I autistic, but I'm also dyslexic. So I had some stuff to help me with my reading and writing, like Read and Write Go, which would read back words I type, and one called Dragon, which could take the words from an audio file and put them into text. So it's kind of like the dictation system on the phone. So is there any other technology that you would recommend to people with autism and other disabilities?
So personally, I'm not too familiar with this area. I do have mild dyslexia myself, and I do struggle, like especially when I was in school and in college. Reading and writing was always a bit of a struggle to me, especially reading, because I'm somebody who, I would read something like Smart Water, but I would just have a glance at it and then it would be something completely different. And I wouldn't even realize, it wouldn't actually click to me that what I read was completely wrong, and I would stick to that. And I've had my friends would correct me saying, no, that actually does not say what you just read. And it's like, oh, okay, didn't even realize. My brother is actually also dyslexic as well. In terms of particular software and things like that, I'm somebody who's not fully familiar with this area in terms of I've not really I've not really researched this area too much, so it's not something I could personally advise. So you were saying Dragon is a piece of software that you've been very...
it was software I used where you could just take any verbal words from an audio file and just put them into a text. So kind of like a dictation software.
Amazing. I mean, what I try to do on my channel is all of my videos they are captioned, not by YouTube's auto generation. I actually pay for a service to get my videos captioned, so then that way they are open to so many more people, and that's something that I would advise any channel that can afford it to do so. And that's one of the things I've been doing for the past, I'd say 2 to 3 years at least, where every one of my videos on the main channel will have manually created captions by a human, not auto-generated. So I'm hoping that does open them up to many more people.
I noticed you brought in some phones. Is there anything that you can share with us what you're going to be working on in the future?
So next week is the Samsung Unpacked event on the 9th of February. So there's going to be a new Samsung device. I've already done some coverage in terms of what to expect. We're expecting the new Galaxy series, of course. That's something I'm very excited about. But as well as that, there's Oppo does have a new device coming soon. The launch event is on Friday, the 4th of February, I believe. So there's lots and lots of new tech coming out, and I'm very excited. I think February is going to start picking up very fast, and there's just going to be a lot of new smartphones and gadgets coming out in the coming months. I'm really looking forward to all of it.
So is there any advice you can give to YouTubers who are becoming tech reviewers?
So my advice always is, don't try to make people watch your content, make content that people want to watch. That's what I always kind of try to do. To be successful in this space, you have to work by certain rules, because at the end of the day, in the ideal world, you'd make whatever and people will watch it, but that's not really how it works. So the thing that I always say is kind of, look, you're likely going to be your own target audience. So I'm somebody who's really into technology. So I make content that's around technology. I am also my target audience, which means I can really see what isn't already out there, or what is already out there, but what I could do in my own style, in my own way, which could appeal to more people like myself. And that's something that I always advise, is that, look for what you like to watch and how you could make it better, or if not better, like different, and make it more personalized to yourself, because then that's really going to help you stand out. So that would be my advice.
That's some good advice. Very wise words there.
Thank you.
One last thing, I noticed in some of your videos, usually with the guests, you do like quick fires.
Oh yes.
So I took the liberty of preparing some quick fires for you. So I've got 5, so they're nice and easy.
All right.
Okay. So here we go. Windows or Mac?
Windows.
Desktop or laptop?
Desktop.
Tablet or SLR camera?
SLR camera.
AI or no AI?
Yeah,
And Roblox or Minecraft?
robots.
Great.
I think I did pretty well.
A big thank you to SuperSaf for joining me on my channel.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sorry it took so long for us to find the time to actually sit down together, but no, I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
It's an honor. So do go and check out his channel, and if you are a fan of SuperSaf, do give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload a video, and you can follow me on my social sites. So thanks again, Saf, for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.